So 1.8.0 looks to be an interesting patch for Marvel's Avengers, with the highlights obviously being the Cosmic Cube event and the Monica Rapuccini boss fight in Villain Sector. What if that was the whole video? What if I just said those two things and then fucked off and left? The Monica Rapuccini boss fight looks pretty interesting to me. I think it's going to be really neat. It looks to be a little more of like a puzzly boss fight than most that we've seen so far. It looks like you need to do something, complete some requirement, depower the cube somehow before you can actually get hits in on Monica herself. What do you guys think about that? I personally think it can be done poorly and it can be done well, and I'm hoping that this adds some variety and is good, but we'll see. I don't actually know yet. It's not outright bad just because there's a requirement to go in and punch. That's normally not a bad thing, so I don't know. We'll see. Fingers crossed. One thing that is really weird about this next patch is that the Villain Sector comes out on Tuesday, but the event doesn't actually start until Thursday, and I don't know why they decided to do it that way. I understand they want patches to go live on Tuesday, but you could have held off the Villain Sector until the event comes out that the Villain Sector like ties in with. It feels really strange. Like, I don't quite get it. Why am I able to go in and fight Monica Rapuccini before the Cosmic Cube event starts, before I can start getting those rewards? It's weird. I almost feel like they're staggering the releases to keep players coming back, but I have no real basis for that claim. That is totally baseless. I don't see there being much in the way of narrative in this event, unfortunately. The only thing that it's going to do for us narratively is wrap up the AIM plot in a nice little bow so that we can move on in the Black Panther expansion. But of course, AIM bots are still rowdy and about somehow. Man, that's a whole video topic that I could go on a rant about. What I mean by that is that you have to design your narrative and your mechanics around like a narrative that makes sense for things to keep coming back and for enemies to be repeatable, because you need things to fight in big waves, right? And those things need to be available and not just like eternally wiped out forever and can never come back. They have to be able to come back. And that's an interesting thing that is very unique to games. We also received some word on things that are coming post this next patch that you might be interested in. Stuff like OLTs, new loot. They talked about crossplay a little bit. Stay tuned for that. Let's talk about Omega level threats. Where the fuck are they and why are they taking so goddamn long? I'm gonna lose my mind. I need content. It seems like they're close to being complete. They mentioned that they're doing some final balancing changes and that they're going to be ready soon. Soon TM. Who knows when that actually is? I sure don't. And I'm personally very curious about what that actually means. What the internal status of OLTs actually is. Because I know that when you say, oh yeah, it's pretty much ready, we're doing some final balance changes, that could mean, oh god, it doesn't fucking work and we need to fix it. But I hope that's not the case. I really don't know. Pay attention when you're playing these Omega level threats when they come out for stuff like bugs and all of that. Just keep an eye open for that because it could be interesting. But if there are bugs, don't harass the developers or anyone at Crystal Dynamics because it's very easy to miss things. It's so incredibly easy to miss small things or miss big things even, depending on how the process over there works. I don't know what it is, but it is still simple to miss this kind of shit. And if you see one bug in OLTs and you go, fuck, they released it and it was ready and they took so long and I'm mad, don't do that. It's okay to be upset if it's not what you want and it doesn't feel fun and all of that, but like, if it's a little buggy, you know, maybe cut them some slack. But if it's extremely buggy, then we of course have a problem. There's a thin line there and it's not always clear, and you know, it's important to handle this kind of stuff with class and tact and, you know, be respectful, and that's all. Come on guys, we can do it. They talk about mega hives, and frankly I'm really excited for the changes that mega hives are going through. It seems like it's going to be way more fun to play in this new format. Essentially, they're halving the amount of rooms you actually have to go through and increasing the challenge so that when you die it's not as big of a deal and it feels shorter overall to get through a mega hive, which is just 100% an improvement on what mega hives were. There will be overall less grind, dying won't feel nearly as punishing, it's just a massive positive thing, and apparently the loot's not changing. It's going to be just as valuable, which is incredibly exciting for this guy. Hey. They talk a little bit about their philosophy with their loot changes, which I found very interesting. They're tackling loot slowly over time in smaller changes instead of like one big update that's just called Loot 2.0. It's going to be spread out and little tiny adjustments here and there until we get to this new thing that loot will be, and hopefully overall it's a massive improvement, but obviously it's going to feel slow until we get there. So just, you know, bear in mind that while we get these new patches with minor changes to loot, there is an end goal in mind. And that goal overall is to make loot more valuable, to make it feel more relevant every time that you get it, and to make things overall a little less grindy. And of course, they want to make it really obvious how you get loot and where you obtain it, and not lock it behind obscure things, and all of that stuff sounds very cool to me. I just hope it's not too little too late, and, you know, too slow, and, you know, that's all very possible, and that's a shame. Oh yeah, and remember when I talked about crossplay earlier and probably clickbaited it on the title? They basically just said that they aren't doing it and that they would like to do it, but they don't have any plans to do it. But they did say they'd like to do it, so maybe one day, you know, maybe it could happen. I don't know. I would love that. That'd be so sick. But probably not, because my big reason for why it won't happen, actually, is Spider-Man. Because if you're playing on a PC and you load up into a lobby with a Spider-Man, that fucking envy, ooh, I'd be so angry. That's most of what they talked about during the dev stream. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited for the upcoming patch and the new stuff that they teased? Does any of it sound interesting? Is it game-saving? I don't know. It's tough, right? None of it really stands out to me as, like, incredibly game-changing or earth-shattering, so I don't know, man. But hopefully, War for Wakanda will change that. I don't really have that much to talk about. I literally mentioned everything that was interesting to me about War for Wakanda at the start of my last video, which was so funny to me, because it was not really relevant, but I got it out of the way in, like, 10 seconds flat, because that's just how little there was that they showed. Maybe subscribe, like 90% of people aren't subscribed that watch my videos? That's fucking weird, champ, bro. Also follow me on social media and stuff, that'd be cool. And new videos every Monday, man. That's been happening really reliably. I'm proud of that. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye. Peace the fuck out. I'm gonna keep moving my arms until the video ends, and we'll just see when it ends. Alright, good shit.